I usually do my monthly builds at the end of the month rather than the beginning. This isn't for any particular reason, it's just kind of when I did the first one and then I've just done one per month since. Last month things got a little screwy with product launches and embargo dates, and unfortunately I had to push off my monthly build in favor of getting some other videos done. But October, I have not forgotten about you. Today I'm going to put together a new system build based around Intel's new Coffee Lake platform. I was a little conflicted about which Coffee Lake processor I wanted to use in my first Z370 system. At first I was thinking of going with the i3-8100, but when I saw the performance numbers from the 8700K, I knew I had to use it instead. The 8700K is a real powerhouse of a CPU, combining Intel's legendary IPC performance with increased core and thread counts, meaning that not only will gamers be fawning over it, but content creators will as well. Hopefully it comes back into stock at major online retailers before the holiday season, but right now we just don't know. Of course we're going to need something to put it in, and when I did my Z370 motherboard roundup, I was most impressed with the cheapest board and the most expensive board. The ASRock Z370 Extreme 4 has some really outstanding features, especially when compared to other products in its price range. However, I just couldn't stay away from the Gigabyte Z370 Aorus Gaming 7 here. It's a fully tricked out motherboard with some spicy features and full complement of addressable RGB LEDs. Power delivery is also outstanding, so hopefully we can go full bore with our overclock. Spitting out frames for us this time around is NVIDIA's GTX 1080 Founders Edition. Now, clearly I have blacked out the green logo LED, but the shroud is otherwise color neutral to fit in with our theme so far. It will give us some serious gaming cred and should allow for 1440p gaming at high or ultra settings. We're going to be working with two products from ADATA's XPG line today. This Spectrix D40 memory kit along with the Gamix S10 M.2 SSD. ADATA was kind enough to send over these products for review, and the system will help put them through their paces. Although the heat spreaders on the memory are red and sometimes that doesn't mix with themes, I've found that when installed you don't really see them at all due to their proximity to other DIMMs as well as the RGB light strips up top. The Gamix is similarly red, but we're going to be installing it under a thermal guard for hopefully some added cooling on our motherboard. It's a PCIe drive with read speeds up to 1800 megabytes per second and will suit our needs just fine. Providing the power will be Corsair's new TX series 550 watt power supply. You get partial modularity and an 80+ gold rating from Corsair along with a 5-year warranty. This is more on the budget end of things and doesn't have a super high wattage output, but given Pascal's efficiency and low power draw, I'm hopeful we should be just fine. As a disclaimer, a system like this should probably start with a baseline of 600 to 650 watts, as having some headroom is preferable for overclocking. So do as I say, not as I do. But regardless, thank you to Corsair for sending this over. We're going to be building with two Fractal Design products today. The Meshify C, which you'll see in a minute, and the Celsius S36 cooler. The Meshify has received high marks from almost all reviewers for its compact size and shape, to go along with excellent airflow from the front due to the mesh. This will be my first time building in this tempered glass enclosure, and I have high expectations given Fractal's reputation for quality. The Celsius S36 is a 360mm AIO cooler I looked at in my AIO shootout video. I was impressed with the simplicity and elegance of the design, as all of the fan cables get routed down to a port on the radiator, and the only thing that's plugged into the motherboard is a single PWM cable. We're rounding out our system with a set of Corsair's new LL series of fans. Though not for the price squeamish, the LL120s look absolutely amazing and are bright and of course fully configurable. We'll be using them as an exhaust on the top and rear of the case, and their illumination makes it so that we shouldn't need any more lighting inside the box. Well, that is enough talk. Let's get to building. So as you can see by the benchmark scores, there's almost nothing this system doesn't do well. It crushes modern games as well as full system benchmarks. And obviously CPU only tests are no problem at all. I ended up going for a simple, clean look on the interior and left the stock all black cables in place from the power supply. When I had everything installed and powered on the system, the default RGB configuration on the memory and fans really lit everything up inside the case, and as I've never done a build that qualifies as RGB vomit, I decided to just roll with it. I even switched over the motherboard LEDs to match. In fact, it's actually kind of growing on me and really showcases the capabilities of these kinds of parts. I'm not sure that I'd want it to look this way all the time, but it's nice to look at least temporarily. Building in the Meshify C was a fairly standard fractal design experience. They may not make the flashiest cases, but everything in here is well thought out with excellent spacing and nice touches of convenience, like the angled pass-through area for the cables. I'd actually really like to see a similar design in a slightly larger frame to allow for some more room on the interior for something like water cooling. With the full mesh front panel for radiator airflow, I bet we could get some crazy low temperatures with that kind of a setup. Speaking of temps, the Celsius S36 knows its job description and does it well, keeping our 8700K in the low 70s at 100% load even at 5.1 GHz. I was actually able to get things stable at 5.2, but this required just way too much voltage for daily use, and I backed it off a bit to preserve the longevity of the chip. So overall, this was a really fun system to build and test. There's always some amount of unknown when you dive into a new platform, as you can never really be sure what components will play nice with others. But thankfully, there were no issues here, and the system turned out great. So thanks for tuning into my very late October monthly build. If you like this video and want to help support the channel, consider hitting that little thumbs up button down there in the corner and or visiting my merchandise store at the link in the description. Also, don't forget to get subscribed to the channel if you're not already. And as always, thanks for watching.